Hello! In this episode, I'm going to give you 3 thoughts on judgment from Jeremiah 12, 14 through 17. Jeremiah 12, 14 through 17 says this: Thus says the Lord concerning all my evil neighbors who touch the heritage that I have given my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them up from their land, and I will pluck up the house of Judah from among them, and after I have plucked them up, I will again have compassion on them, and I will bring them again, each to his heritage, and each to his land. And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, to swear by my name, as the Lord lives, even as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then they shall be built up in the midst of my people. But if any nation will not listen, then I will utterly pluck it up and destroy it, declares the Lord. From Jeremiah 12, 14 through 17, I'm going to share with you 3 thoughts on judgment. Thought number 1, the Lord judges his people. Now, this prophecy is given to the nations around Israel, and he tells them, look, this is what I'm going to do to my people. I'm going to pluck them up, and I am going to judge them, meaning I'm going to dispense my wrath upon them. His own people. The Lord judges his people. He judges them. Why? Because they had worshiped other gods. Because they had not served him as they ought to have. Because they were rebellious in nature. So the Lord is punishing his people. It's important for us to know that God is not above punishing his own people. He will do it, has done it, will do it again. He does it so that they will be brought back into faithfulness with him. The Lord's judgment upon his own people that he ultimately lifts and restores his people is a means of discipling them, of making them more disciplined, of bringing them back into proper fellowship with him. It's just like a father disciplines the child he loves. Why does he do it? Because he wants that child to do better in life. So it is with God and his people. Thought number 1, the Lord judges his people. Thought number 2, the Lord restores his people. So after the Lord takes Judah up and he puts them in exile, he again will grab them and put them back into the land of promise. So he judges them, and then he restores them, puts them back. This is something that the Lord does again and again with the people of Israel. He judges them, and then he brings them back into faithfulness. He restores his people. He restores them to right relationship with him. He restores the covenant that the people had broken. The Lord is faithful to do this. So while the Lord's people may undergo God's judgment, they can trust that as they return to him, the Lord also restores his people and withholds his judgment or removes his hand of judgment that was once upon them. So thought number 2 is that the Lord restores his people. Thought number 3, the Lord destroys the rebellious. The Lord destroys the rebellious. So this prophecy is sort of demonstrating to the nations around Israel that if they will be faithful to him, that he will protect them and he will allow them to serve him, even though they're not a part of his covenant promise. He will accept them as his people, provided they are faithful to him. But if they are not faithful to him, what will he do? He will devote them to destruction. He will judge them as they are rebellious against him. He will display his wrath against them in order to elevate or make clear his holiness, his righteousness, his justice. All of that becomes clear when the Lord destroys the rebellious. Now, there's some sense of this happening here and now. But there's also a sense of greater destruction that happens to the rebellious in the consummation. So as we live now, there will be nations that rise and nations that fall. There will be people groups that come up and people groups that go down. And this is all a part of the Lord's judgment upon the earth. The Lord ultimately, though, regardless of who he's raising up or who he's bringing low, the Lord ultimately devotes those who are rebellious against him to destruction, while he also judges and restores his own people. So those are the three thoughts that I wanted you to take from Jeremiah 12:14 through 17. The Lord judges his people, the Lord restores his people, the Lord destroys the rebellious. This devotional comes from our reading for today, Jeremiah 12 through 16. If you'd like to read through the Bible with me, you can do so by joining the Facebook group Through the Bible, where we have daily readings provided for you and also encouragement to continue reading through the scriptures together.